Oh, is it going? I think it's totally going. Cool. And I'm talking to you today. Good morning. Wherever you are, it's morning here in Las Vegas. It is. It's 9:30, which is I guess normal for me, but I'm not awake yet. But I know my time is limited because I'm going to be going out and doing other things uh in the early afternoon, but I wanted to get something designed in Fusion so that I could print it while I was gone. So I need to make headway on that. But I figured I might as well stream the whole thing, just, I don't know, healthy practice, making the stuff. I have nobody, I don't even know if anyone's in here yet, so I don't know if I want to jump into it immediately. It's a big 10-4 on the no. Oh, one person. Hi, one person. Let's see. So, I guess I can start explaining what I'm doing today. I'm working on the next peripheral for the Shibon project, which is going to involve the nipples, like the booby area. So I'm making a pair of pasties that is going to stimulate the nipple in some capacity, but also spin a propeller that's going to go on the ends, is sort of the visual. And there's stuff that I'm planning on doing with that. I'm not entirely sure whether or not this peripheral is going to primarily be an indicator or whether it's going to sense anything. There's obviously definitely things that you can sense about this area of your body, but at the very least it's going to provide some form of visual indication, thus the propellers. So one of the things that I wanted to attempt to do, I don't know if it's going to work, but I made this thing last Monday. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I made this little rover guy, and this was a cool little kit that I picked up from Japan a couple weeks ago. And he's really awesome because he actually works. Like, he has a gearbox inside of him that moves his little wheels in a direction when he's in direct sunlight. And they put this big, flashy kind of planetary gear. Can you even see that? There's like a triple geared planetary gear thing inside of there. And it's for show. It doesn't really, I mean, it does provide a function. It like turns this little like thing right here back and forth as he moves. But it looks really nice when it's in motion. And I'm going to recreate this planetary gear, spinny inside internal gear. There's probably a name for it. If you know it, like, type it in chat so I know, and I'm not continuing to call it some nonsense like I am right now. I apologize. But I'm going to make one of those effectively, but instead of there being another centered gear, because there's like a gear in the very, very middle that's actually being spun, but it's not providing any function, I don't think. At least from what I can tell. Instead of having a central gear, I guess I could still put that there. That's where the nipple's going to go. So the point of this is, since these three smaller gears that spin inside of the planetary gear kind of rotate around the inner diameter of the planetary gear, the big guy, I kind of want them to spin radially around the nipple area where this thing's going to be mounted. And yes, I'm actually doing this, and yes, it's supposed to provide some like function, and it will have a purpose, and it will also look visually pleasing when I'm done making the thing, hopefully. But I need to get started, so anyhow. Hey, good morning, guys. Hi, Kia Oliver and Ahmed and Karmagasm. I love that. And J. Adam Moore. Good morning. Good morning, guys. I gotta remember not to look at the computer this time because I'm using a different camera today. So that's the plan. So we actually talked about all of this in the kiddie pool last night. I was discussing my plans for possible iterations of this thing, which get really weird really fast, but I wanted to begin building the mechanical portion first because, as I keep saying, that's the thing that I enjoy doing the most, is making the actual physical objects and assembling them. So I'm going to get an actual physical shape and then figure out what sort of like sensing devices and how I'm going to drive it, like if I'm going to use a motor or if it's going to be free spinning and passive or if I'm going to do some other thing with that. First, I have bearings coming. I actually don't have any right now, so I think tomorrow I have some really teeny tiny, like 8mm outer diameter bearing pieces coming in the mail from Amazon, so I'll be able to actually install those in whatever I design today, and hopefully they just like fit without too much fuss. And then I can post how they work. I'll maybe demo them on Mark. I don't know how you'd feel about that. Ooh, good morning, Cogswatch. Ah, my mom. Robo moms. What? My moniker received Robo Mama's approval. Oh, clockwise or counterclockwise? Both the same spin or opposed. The tiny motor in the spinning motion vibration might end up stimulating in itself. That's a good idea. I didn't even think of that as a byproduct of using a motor. Effectively, what we talked about in the kiddie pool last night is that I'm going to build a free spinning version that if you spin the propeller, like if someone walks up and like flicks the propeller, there'll be like a Hall effect sensor that will read the turns per minute or RPM or whatever, and it'll take that data and then trigger some other thing to happen somewhere else on the body, so it'll just be like an input device in a sense. And then one of the other things that we had discussed is I would just make one that is attached to a motor, so they're not free spinning, which is not as fun given that they're propellers. And I think that like little propellers kind of lend themselves to just sort of spinning with the air or if someone like moves them. But yeah, having an actual motor attached to a geared system where they are being forced to spin by the motors when the motors actually do their motory thing. But I'm not entirely sure yet whether these, like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, whether they're going to be input devices or just solely output devices. Mark brought up the idea of getting one of the cheap LiDAR sensors and then having that pointed inward at the nipple. And if I can really get that stationary on the skin so that it doesn't really move, having that beam of light recognize whether the nipple is becoming hard, which sounds crazy, but because it sounds crazy, and the idea of making an inverse like laser nipple bra is like tantalizing and kind of, I can't pass that one up. I'm thinking I might get one and try it out and see if I can actually get reliable readings out of it, like something that means something. Because if it does work, then yeah, then that'll just become an input device. Because, I mean, why wouldn't I want to have LiDAR nipples? Cheers, guys. It's gonna be a fun week. Okay. Alright, without further ado, I'm gonna turn this... Oh god, that's not the camera. This is the camera. I'm gonna turn this thing down so that I can see this lovely screen right here. There we go, Propeller Pasties right there. I even made a new project folder for this endeavor. Uh-oh. No. Please don't fight me, interface. Okay. Sorry. Ah. Alright, I'm gonna move this so I can see the chat. Because I still don't... I'm probably not gonna have 2 monitors for a hot minute. And that's okay. Or I guess I could just click over and check this every once in a while. I'll do that instead. There we go. But let me see what you guys are saying. Oh, use it. Hook it up to a motor to vibrate elsewhere. Just sensor would need a hardening nipple. We'll find out soon enough. This is going to be the week that we discover exactly how we can track nipple hardness using off-the-shelf, off-the-shelf sensors that I can get readily available to me from Pololu or SparkFun or wherever. Oh god. Wake up. Yeah, I kind of just ran out of bed and like set this up, so I'll like the sharpness will happen in minutes here, I'm hoping. But look at my pressure sensor against the nipples. Optical mouse is what I'm guessing will work for the... Okay. Adam Moore, I'll probably do play around, experiment with specifically that as well. It's sometime this week. I'm just going to test everything out and see what sort of data I get, basically, because it's very possible that none of this is going to work. Because, like, in theory, yeah, but mounted on top of something and needing to, like, read a very, like, minute amount of change, I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do something like that. It might fail. If it's, like, not reliable enough, then I might scrap having this specific peripheral be an input device. But if I could hypothetically get it in some capacity able to sense anything happening with that part of my body, that would be very amusing, and I would really like to use that data to do stuff. But anyhow, so the first thing that I'm going to do is make my big planetary gear bit, now that you guys know what I'm doing. I think I've explained it enough. And I started my sketchy bit. So the thing that... Did it go away? I think it went away. That's annoying. Add-ins. Spur gear. Run. Thank you. So what I just did there, I went to like the add-ins. I don't know why I have to keep doing this and why it doesn't just stay in the drop-down menu, but you can run this spur gear add-in or script, and this allows you to generate gears, which is great, because I sure as hell can't make them on my own from scratch, at least not properly. And I can go to the create menu, if those of you who don't know this. Why aren't you going? Why? What? Come on. Did my thing lock up? What are you doing? Stop sketch? Is that what you don't like? Whoa. The sadness that I feel right now is immense and deep and profound. Okay. I think... No, it's not. Alright, so it's not... where are you guys? Here. One moment. I need to spank my Autodesk Fusion360, apparently. When quitting just isn't hard enough, and you have to force quit. Okay. Yeah. No. Restart the program. I'm very, very, very saddened by your inability to do really basic stuff. Oh man, I see the thing moving. I should probably read the chat. We're just gonna need as a mouse. The sensor against is difficult. Yes. Painted tracking dots for instant calibration. That would be funny. I could use these. Calibration dot, one yellow on the nipple. Pressure sensor, I believe, will be the easiest to hold in place, but I am unsure how effective it will register the increase of pressure. I'm not sure. Like when I've used, the last time I used pressure sensors, you had to really kind of press down on them for it to register any sort of change or fluctuation. I don't think like the hardness of my nipple would be able to really like register on a pressure sensor. I mean maybe in an anime, yes, but in real life, probably not. I think it's too subtle of a push, press, whatever. And make, yes, I would love, yes, eventually when I get past the stuff that I'm doing right now, hopefully I can come back and work on the masks. My original plan for the summer was to focus like a percentage of time on those, but what happens to me in my life is by about May, there becomes things that I have to do for a given reason. And right now I'm working towards an exhibition at the end of the summer with Noodle that involves computer vision, so I'm focusing most of my time on that. And then I'm getting these peripherals for the Shibon project hashed out and documented first, because I want to submit that project as a whole to other things that I want to do. So I need to focus all of my attention on those two projects specifically, so the masks have kind of taken like a back seat to those for the time being. But I'm talking to my computer like it's the wrong camera. But I'll get back to it to answer your question. Effective body paint. Tracking dots would show the relative change between dot and visual jitter from an optical mouse sensor. That is true. I could do that. I will play with that. If it works, then that's my solution. For a pressure sensor, you'd need something very specifically calibrated and fine-grained. Yes. I don't know if they... I mean, I'm sure they exist. I just don't know if I can get one that I would be able to use fairly easily for this application. After you finish Shibon and Noodle Mummy. Yes. Yes. I always have too much on my plate. There's like a million things that I want to be doing, and I still haven't technically finished documenting the project from last summer where I was making Noodle's feet, like all of his behavioral appendages. Like, I think I documented half of that project, and then I had to get it ready to exhibit really fast, and then it never got kind of... None of the stuff I did like towards the last half of the summer ever really got published properly, so I need to go back and do all of that too. I need like multiple versions of myself that can help me stay on top of everything. Okay, so it's just so it's not there. Add-ins. Before I point you guys back down at what I'm doing, I'm actually going to make sure that this is in fact going to do what I want it to, because right now it keeps locking up and I'm not entirely sure what its deal is. There we go. And I'm waking up slowly. Alright guys, so this little window opens up here, this like prompty thing. It says spur gear. So this is that spur gear add-in that I just ran. It added itself to my create drop-down menu. There's a bunch of fields here and I don't really understand. I understand them, but I don't like fully grasp the gravity of their meaning. But I do know that if I type in the number of teeth that I want, which is 24, and I change this number, the model, so it's right now, like these two numbers relate to one another, the model and the number of teeth, and that this seems to be 1 times 24, that affects the pitch diameter down here. And the pitch diameter is the most important number because that's really how large your gear is, or at least that's the line in which two gears are actually going to mesh together. So if you're trying to measure gears to fit a specific amount of space, you pay attention to this number because that's effectively your gear size. That's like where they're going to be interlocking to one another, if that makes any sense. So there's probably like an actual definition for that somebody knows and can throw out there, but that's what it means to me, how I've come to understand that number. So this is your most important number, and this is basically, it looks like the model times the number of teeth, and then it's I don't understand what the root fillet radius is, but if it's not the correct number, it will yell at you down here and tell you to change it, so I just kind of do that to satisfy it on the fly. So I want this to be 3 millimeters thick with a 4 millimeter hole in the middle for now, and pitch diameter is 24, but I don't want it to be 24, I want it to be 50. So 2 times 25 is 50, so my pitch diameter is now 50, which is what I'm looking for, because the overall, I'm making the planetary gear, so the overall relative diameter of the nipple thing is going to be 50 millimeters, which I spec'd this out yesterday while I had my calipers in hand, before I got in the pool. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this, and it vomited out a gear for me. Like, bam, there it is. And you're probably saying, but Sarah, this isn't a planetary gear. And my answer for you is, yes, I know it's not. I don't know how to specifically generate planetary gears, but I did find out last year, apparently, when I was redesigning Noodles, gantry planetary gear thingy, that you can just subtract this gear from some other piece of meat. So I'm gonna make a 60 millimeter circle thing. I'm going to extrude that up. And I'm gonna subtract this away. So that effectively, the negative space of the spur gear gives me my planetary gear, and it more or less works. That's probably not the entirely proper way to do that, but it'll do. and that green line that's running through all of those teeth is my pitch diameter, which is, again, 50 millimeters for this. I don't know if that's enough teeth. It might not be. I found that for 3D printing, the larger your teeth, the better, obviously. But in the realm of making gears, I know that the smaller the teeth, the better, because there's less lash. So I try to compromise. But for now, I'm gonna go with this number of teeth. That actually might be too big. We'll see. Anyhow, moving on. This might not work. I might end up having to change this pretty soon, but for the time being, whatever. Alright, so that fancy gearbox that's on the inside of my little rover has 3 smaller internal gears that are going to rotate inside of this pizza, this planetary gear. I actually think those teeth are too big. Okay, so I'm gonna back that the fuck up. And I'm gonna generate another gear. Create spur gear. Okay, so oh, I didn't save my settings. How rude. 50 number of teeth. Let me check the chat real quick. What are you guys talking about? Something. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm like that dog from the meme. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't give myself a lot of credit, ever. Let's see. Okay, let's try 50 teeth. Let's see what that looks like. I think I had 25 before, which is an odd number. I don't like that. So let's try 50. Uh-oh. Okay, so it says what it's doing down here. It says it's computing the fillet. And it's at 77%. Come on, computer, you can compute that fillet. I have faith in you. Oh! Please don't get stuck forever and ever. Okay, so I had this problem earlier this morning. So before I started the stream, I right out of the chute opened this up and tried to generate a gear with that base setting with the 50 teeth, and it got stuck on me for a good long time, and I ended up having to quit the program, which is, I have to say, I don't do that often. Like, I think this is the most I've force quit Fusion360 ever, which is unfortunate, because this gear generator normally just kind of works, but for whatever reason it does not like the 50-toothed thing that I'm trying to produce right now. So I know that this is gonna just kind of go forever. Yeah, application not responding. It's like, okay. No. It's really disappointing. You disappoint me. So, in the next, like, half an hour or so, I'm gonna call this, but my mother, she's going to probably ring me and want to know if I'm going out for Margarita Monday with her, which I haven't done in a good long while now. It's been probably 4 months now since I've done this with her, so that is something that I might do. So I'm trying to get this first iteration of the geared nipple pasty finished before then. All right. Yeah. You disappoint me, Fusion. No. So now I'm getting kind of pissed. But anyhow, how are you guys doing? Well, I fight with this. You guys doing anything interesting today? It's Monday. I'm assuming it's Monday in most parts of the world. But 50. This. $54. That's right. I don't want that either. Is that too much for it? Three, 4. Oh, I'm spinning to death again. Okay, for some reason it does not like that. Which is surprising. Well, I'll look at the chat while it's trying to hug it out with itself. Hi Ben. I do go to DEF CON actually. Kind of. I haven't lately because of reasons though. Like I've either had stuff going on at that time of the year, but I kind of just am more or less burnt out on that con for the time being. Yeah. No, I know there's a badge life thing that goes on these days. No, I've done, I don't know. I've done DEF CON. I used to do DEF CON. Like I had multiple things going on there that I used to partake in back in the day. Like I started going, I think, during DEF CON 21, and like Mark and I have exhibited our robots there actually, which was cool. we've been involved with the con because we are located in Vegas and we had roles there for a period of time, but like I just sort of, I don't know, I guess we really just sort of burnt out on that con and that crowd of people. So last year was like the first year that I was able to kind of detach myself from all of that and go and do other things. So I don't know. I just haven't really found a reason or motivation to go back and like get involved again. So maybe eventually, but probably not this year. But yeah, no, I think it's cool that everyone's making custom circuit boards these days, since it's easy to do, and it is inexpensive to just sort of have your own fancy stuff fabricated. It's cool seeing what everyone's creating, for sure. But I was going to propose wearing this project to DEF CON this year, but I sort of talked myself out of it. Just, I don't know. It's a long story. Not really a long story, but not a fun one. To answer your question. Any other cons? The only cons, I guess, that I do these days, like I do SuperCon at the end of the year, because I genuinely really like that crowd of people. And this is really just coming down to whether or not I like being around the people that go to the con. And Hackaday's SuperCon is pretty great. Like, I genuinely enjoy visiting with everyone who goes to that every year. And that's in Pasadena. And then I do Ars Electronica now in the late fall. And yeah, this froze again and I'm pissed. Ars Electronica is pretty awesome. I wouldn't really call it a con for tinkerers, but if you want to get some like legit inspiration for designing stuff, I highly suggest checking it out at least once. The only downside to it is that it's in Austria, so if you want to pop over or do a Euro trip during the fall, it's a good excuse to go to southern Germany and do Oktoberfest, since it is in the month of September, and I think that's when that's going on. You can kind of like plan those two things in tandem. What else? I don't know. I guess I could ask you guys the same thing. What cons do you guys go to for hackers and makers that you guys enjoy? Because I mean, I know there's like new things happening kind of regularly these days, and I'm not hip on any of them. I'm not hip on any of these new cons you kids are participating in. I'm ready to throw my coffee cups in my screen. Okay, so that's the gear. Okay, so for some reason and I'll change the screen down to my desktop so you guys can see what I'm suffering with right now. My computer really doesn't like me making a gear with those parameters, and it keeps locking up. So I'm gonna try and come up with a way to get a gear with a pitch diameter of 50 millimeters that doesn't use the math that I was previously trying to math. So that means these two things multiplied need to equal roughly 50. I'm gonna say like between like 50 and 60. Let's go with 60. That's an easier number to digest. So 60, let's say 30 teeth. There. So now there's 30 teeth instead of 50, and it's yelling at me. It's like, hey, your root fillet, blah, blah, blah. Shut up. I don't know. Mark and I we took a break from the whole con doing thing, because they tend to be, I mean, for us, like, we always try to participate in some way. Like, Mark and I, it's safe to say that we don't do anything unless we have some sort of purpose, like if we're doing something or exhibiting something or bringing something to the table, which gives the whole experience more meaning, but unfortunately that does tend to suck a lot of energy out of you because you have to prepare for the thing. And I think at this point, him and I we backed away from doing all the events that we normally did. Like, we used to do Maker Faire every year and some other stuff, and just so much work. And him and I don't know. I think we both are at this point where we want to focus more on our own projects. So we've been doing that. Like, he's kind of in the process right now of getting a Tindy store put together with his own creations. Please just work. Oh man, it's stuck at that 77% thing again. The anger that I'm experiencing right now is for you. The dark side of the Force is flowing through my body right now. I'm jumping in the dark hole on the beach right now and throwing shit around. I'm totally walking into the dark light. What? Someone has a crush on me? Why? That's all I have for you. Why? I don't know. God damn it. PenguiCon. But I've never heard of that one. Other people that like making stuff. Yeah. Force quit Autodesk. Woo! That's the shit, guys. Well, this is fun. That's not how I intended for this to go at all. I love how there's just like a beer, like right there. It's just like, hey, remnants from last night. Come on, you can do this. Hi, Fabu Duck. Welcome to the stream. Oh no. Oh, that sucks. Oh, don't do your printing, Kia, with the printer in the same room. Man, I did that for our Kickstarter. Like, it wasn't even right behind me, but it was like in the room with me. And after a whole year of printing with that like in my environment, I developed this horrible like asthmatic reaction to PLA. And it took me a while to figure out that that's what it was, but I went to the doctor because I thought like I had something critically wrong with my lungs, and it occurred to Mark to like try moving the printer into a different room, and as soon as we did that, the problem I had went away, and I realized that over the period of time that I used my printer, it like cumulatively sort of created this breathing issue for me. So now anytime like I'm around something that's printing like PLA, even for like a little bit, I start getting that like I'm gonna die feeling because I can't breathe. So I wouldn't recommend, I mean, I don't know. Anything with like microparticles like that, especially if they're pumping them out like right in your immediate space, is like, I don't know, I wouldn't do it. I'd put it in a, especially if it's hot and you're hot, punch that shit in the face and move it to a different room. Give it its own like box. Yeah. Really? Well, if you aren't having issues with it, then don't move it. But if it's hot, then I don't know. What? I don't know. But yeah, if you aren't having issues with it, I got, it wasn't a choking feeling, but it was like the, like I couldn't breathe as well. And I've got like a cobblestoney feeling in my throaty lung area. Still might not be the reason, but as soon as we did move that out of the room, it cleared up and I never had that issue again. So I'm in my mind convinced that that was the main contributor to that issue. And this was a couple of years ago, but if you aren't experiencing problems with it, then I guess it's not a big deal. I'm waiting for Autodesk, whatever, Fusion to not be a jerk on me. Yeah. I'm annoyed by this. How many teeth? How many fish heads? 5. Okay, what's another thing I can do? I'm kind of bummed because that seemed like a nice solid number. I'm not entirely sure why it's not processing, because the lower number stuff seems to do just fine. I mean, here, I guess, screw it. 251 root fillet radius 1 4. If this is the only thing that it's gonna give me, if it's even gonna give me that now. This is unfortunate. Good morning, Tony. And no, Caleb, I'm not talking about a regular printer, just the 3D printer, particularly with PLA filament. My skin itches from the pool. Melted plastic skin. And it does smell like waffles, which is a nice smell, but apparently my throat, lung, body didn't enjoy that. Applying to one of those Peter Demandis's program? I'm not sure what those are, actually. And I'm not familiar with them. But yeah, Tony, I can't get the gear generator to actually generate gears now. If you're still around and listening. It just goes into forever beach ball mode. You guys see my screen? Here. So anytime I try to... Come on. Force quit Autodesk again. I guess I'm not going to show you my desktop because it keeps crashing. And there's nothing to see here, guys. Actually, wait. You can see this. This is what keeps happening. So I started this stream about... Holy dear geez, like an hour ago, which is about as long as I actually wanted the stream to be. And I haven't gotten anything done because I can't actually generate gears. Here, let's just send the report. There, take it. You horrible monster. Thank you for sending the error. Okay. So for I think the 6th time now, I'm going to reopen Fusion, and I'm going to attempt to generate a gear using the spur gear generator script thing. And hopefully it just works, as it always has, up until this exact point in time when I wanted to publicize all of this to you wonderful people out there in internet land. You can like sense the aggravation in my voice as it peaks. Okay. Here. Okay. So here, this guy, I think this is the original one that I generated that I said wasn't probably going to work because the gear teeth are too big. That was like very slightly before... Wait, you can't see what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, you can. Okay. That was very slightly before everything started going awry, so I'm going to start with this and see if I can't actually turn out any of my plans. I'm going to use what the universe is giving me right now, which is this. I think 25-toothed gear. Let's just take it. Okay. So I need to generate another one of these, which it might fight me with. So I need to create 3 smaller gears that are going to fit inside of the diameter of this planetary gear, and I figured I would make them 20, like have a pitch diameter of 20, and then the one in the middle would have a pitch diameter of 10, so it would be 20, 10, 20, which would equal 50 in its entirety, and all of them would, you know, interlock perfectly together. That was the original plan. Oh, okay. I don't know why it just told me that, but sure. Oh, that's not what I want. Alright, crossing my fingers. Go with 20. Alright, it liked that. Well, that's not all bad then. Bodies. Ten-toothed here. Move. not going to do what I want. Not even really entirely sure. It looks like it might have issues. This looks like it might have issues. Tony? I'm talking to you now, buddy. Actually, here. Yeah, maybe not. I guess that's not even on the same. It's not on the same plane. Here. Now you are, I think. It looks like they're having unhappy clashing areas. Uh-oh. It's gone. Gears with common factors in their numbers of teeth will have issues with uneven gear. Not sure if that's an issue for your keys. Probably. Yeah, Samuel, I know. I tried to get or generate a gear with more teeth, and it crashed. The program or the script that generates the gear was just sort of computing forever and then eventually crashing. So I decided to attempt and see whether or not this, I guess, proportion would work, but it looks like they are going to have issues. They're too beefy. So I'm gonna go back to just try a new one. Okay, so I'm going to again add my script for the spur gears, which it says it's running, so okay. So I'm going to create a spur gear, and what I was attempting to do was produce something that has a pitch diameter for my planetary gear of 50 millimeters down here. So I've been trying to produce one with 50. The one that I was previously working on had 25. Yeah. I don't know what that means. But if I run this, my fingers are crossed. Hopefully I get a gear out of it and it doesn't just crash again, because that was the problem I was having. And I've done fairly, like, I'm guessing, CPU heavy stuff on here before, and I haven't ever really ran into a problem with it. It just doesn't seem to want to work. Probably because I'm streaming. Because I just stare at the beach ball. So, generating the points quite right, but you can tweak the pitch diameter to make it look better. Okay, Tony. I will do that. And yes, I think Fusion has updated since I last used it, Kia. Like, I noticed that the color up here at the top, the blue, wasn't like that before, so something has changed. Alright, I'll see you, Kia. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to alleviate this issue at the moment. But, yeah! Welcome to Monday morning. My mom should be calling any second. That's just my guess. This is about the time that she's going to ring me. What are you doing? Making pasties that have gears. You'd think that that would also update too, since it's just in their drop-down menu. Like, I didn't go and get the script, it just is part of the software, I think. Or maybe that's not how that works. Fuck you, Fusion. Yep. No, I don't want to send them. Okay. Tony, do you ever run into issues where either SolidWorks or Fusion just continuously crashes on you? Like, might this be because I'm trying to stream and it doesn't have enough CPU or some bullshit? Like, is there something that I'm just, through sheer oversight, not being sensitive to right now? Here, let's quit all of the extra apps that are running, just in case. Don't save. Sure. I really hope I get this doing. So that would be nice. Okay. It is probably a poorly written first-party plugin. It used to work really nicely, though. I mean, I used this thing all last summer, and it just sort of worked. Like, I never ran into any issues with it. It just kind of did. Okay. Alright, so... Nope. Okay, I really don't know. And I'm gonna like cry myself to sleep tonight. But I'm gonna try what Tony suggested and tweak the radius. No, so I'm gonna do the 25 toothed gear again, since it seems to have no problem generating that. I'm going to see if I can tweak the radius of the teeth so that they don't overlap all weird like. The bar seems like it's going to be a welcomed thing now. Okay, 24 teeth. The pressure angle, not the radius. The pressure angle, Tony says, needs to be lower, I believe. 24 teeth, model of 2, no, 25 teeth. 25 teeth, model 2. I get a pitch diameter of 50. My fillet radius, it says, Sarah, it needs to be less. Okay, fine. 4. Thickness, hole, 4, sure. 50, there, 50. That's what I'm looking for. Run. There. Fine. See? Look at that. It's like, sure, we can do that, Sarah. Not a problem. Alright. It seems like the universe just wants me to go with this, and for the sake of actually making some measured progress before I leave, I'm just gonna say fuck it. And that's what it's gonna be for now. So save your comments about the teeth being too big for another stream, because I'm gonna throw my coffee cup through the wall. I know, the teeth are too big, but circumstance says that this is the size that they need to be right now. So I'm gonna extrude this up for, it's gonna be a four pizzas thick. There. Got my planetary, my cheapy poor man's planetary gear done. I'm going to extrude this back out to get rid of it, so that with my negative space, I now have this fancy piece of work. I guess I can lower that. Five. I think that's good. Okay, so I'm going to add another spur gear this time on the inside, and this one is going to need to have, again, will this work? Says so. That's not. Okey-dokey. Oh, that's so weird. Okay, so that's what we're looking at now. it still chafes. So it's not like a perfect... I suppose that's a little better, but then I'm gonna run into issues getting all of these to fit inside of the here and the now. We'll go with it. Okay, so this is effectively what I want. What you're looking at on my screen right now is the sort of thing that I'm trying to create. However, it seems as though this is not gonna... They might be too big, which I kind of know. And yes, the pitch diameter isn't touching. I know, I see that. That is because when they are actually touching, the teeth kind of overlap each other in a unnatural, bad sort of way. There's for certain a reason for this, given that I created my planetary gear and probably the improper method. But yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to make that work, because as far as I know, there is no easy way to make a planetary gear in Fusion360, which surprised me, because I went on the internet and looked around and there wasn't any YouTube video and or thread anywhere that explained how I could do this with a gear generator or otherwise. So just kind of subtracting one out from a spur gear seems to be the only way to get something that maybe sort of might kind of work if you do what I just did. I really do just think the teeth are too big on this. They might not be. Maybe I'll be able to get something to fit right here in the middle. That's effectively where the nipple's going to go. So the whole idea for this is that these gears, as they rotate around and around and around inside of this planetary gear thing, there would be a notch, like probably on the underside, that as it spins, it is kind of like brushing against the wall of your nipple. So your nipple's kind of being kneaded from 3 different sides as the gear spins. And I know you can visualize this. So that's the goal of this. Which you're probably thinking it, but yes, this does mean at some point I was looking at this guy's gearbox and imagining a nipple wedged inside of the center of that fancy contraption spinning around at the top. So I am trying to recreate that gearbox view. And those are much finer gears, because I'm sure they're injection molded or something, and I am gonna have to make concessions for recreating that system at this size and having it still be printable yet still fit inside of itself. Okay. Keep going, Raptor. I don't know. Uh-oh. There's stuff going on in the chat. There's my theory. 0 backlash is why your gears weren't meshing properly. I think all real gears require some backlash. Okay, I can try that. I'm sure that was right. I'm not an expert on this either. I know I have dishonored myself with my comment on gear tooth size. What? I don't know. Wait, what did you say? I think that's because you've got the negative image of a normal gear rather than a proper backwards gear. But last time I had this problem, I redesigned my part to avoid needing that sort of gear. I can visualize this, but it always ends with a lot of plain blood stitches and a breast with no nipple. Oh no! Oh. Alright, I'm gonna keep going. There's actually a tutorial that some guy has on how to build this exact system that I'm trying to do. So I'm thinking if I can't do it on my own, I might find that video that I stumbled upon yesterday and I'll actually watch it and then go through all of the steps. Except he uses like a fancy kind of helical, twisty toothed gear on his, and I don't really want that. I just want normal ass basic gears. 5. Yep. So in theory, this is the sort of thing that I'm looking for and what I'm expecting to get. Let's rotate that 15 degrees. Eek. $10. It's probably not. That's not looking like it's gonna get me a pizza. Okay, so the pitch diameter here is overlapping in an unhappy way. And there's reasons for that, because this isn't really pushed up as far as it can go here. So if I slide that in, there, I think 1/2 millimeter more. Yeah, those all look like they roughly gel, but as you can see, these do overlap slightly. So the pitch diameter is flush with the pitch diameter and all that jazz, but we have some slight issues here. That's not how that works. Okay, so, So this ideally would just be rotated, copy and paste it, capture position, set pivot around the middle, the center, and then if I rotate this 120 degrees, that's where that needs to be. La la la. And then this I would just rotate conceivably an amount so that it actually gels with the stuff that it's next to. are meshing with, if it wants to do that. We'll just go with that. So you're supposed to look like that, mostly? Yeah? Except everything's kind of like overlapping and chafing in an uncomfortable way. So this is the kind of thing that I want to create. And that's probably not going to work. So, but I could print it just for shits and grins to see if I do get results. So these 3 gears, they move around this center gear right here. This remains stationary and the planetary gear remains stationary. So these are the 3 things that are, they have agency in the whole system. They are connected to one another by one, I guess, capture piece. So there's another kind of 50 diameter circle that would mount above or below this, and it would have little arms that come out and then capture these 3 gears, probably with bearings, and that would also move. In this little guy right here, this doohickey, I'm showing the screen like this is the camera that's working. In this example, there's another normal spur gear, which is the capture piece for these 3 inner doohickeys, and that outer spur gear, that big 50 diameter spur gear, is responsible for spinning this little guy here on the top, his little radar. I'm thinking this might actually be the point where the motor is attached and that enters into the system. So my method of driving this whole thing is probably going to end up being mounted here where this little radar is. I'm thinking that's how that's gonna go. So that means there's going to be like some like little motor tuner that's going to mount on the side of this whole thing. So there, which might add weight and offset the pasty. So it might need to be attached to something else that's like independent of the pasty, maybe, or at least something that will offset the weight so that it's not just hanging and like wanting to kind of pull it off. That's the other thing about creating something that's supposed to mount to such a soft part of the body, is that it is going to want to come off. Like that's probably going to be the biggest problem, is getting it to stay on with whatever means of driving it remains kind of part of the aesthetic, and then also kind of not working against what it's trying to achieve. So if I do add a motor to this system right here, it's gonna offset the weight in a weird way, inevitably. So I have to figure out a workaround for that.
Or it could just be passive and you flick the propeller and it makes the gears spin all pretty. I mean, I think that's like the first step, so maybe I am getting ahead of myself. I don't know. Alright, see ya, James. Sorry I'm having such a frustrating time with the gear generator. Not that I planned that, but still. Anyhow. Okay. So the next thing I need to make is something that holds these 3 gears in place. From those points. And let's say slightly smaller, say 56. Okay, so I'm going to turn all of these gears off. Oh man. Off. And you off. Okay, so kind of didn't want to do that. So sure. Okay. Everybody's favorite trainer. And then I said this was going to be 56. Okay. 56. Okay, so I'm going to make my little capture points. I'm going to offset that 2, 2, 3. Let's go with 2. None of this is probably going to work anyway, so I'm just going to arbitrarily pump in some numbers here and see what I end up getting out of this. So this is the capture bit, again, that I'm designing. Stop. So, that number be 4. Why doesn't that work now? You can't type in negative numbers while offsetting things anymore. I don't know why. So that changed like when they did this update. So it used to be that if I wanted this to go in the opposite direction, I would type in -4 and it would go the opposite way that I just had it go. But it's positive numbers for both ways, which is, I don't understand why they would have changed that. It worked perfectly fine how they had it before. I'm sure they have a reason, but it is annoying for me. I mean, I guess I could have just done one of these. I think that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just do one and then do a radial pattern to repeat the other two. I might still go up. I might still do that. I think I am going to do that. So, extrude. Three, sure. Okay, so I'm going to do that thing. Actually, there's probably no reason why. Let's do it. Why? Any good reason why? No? Because you simply feel like being a jerk? Yes? I don't know why that piece is disobeying, but whatever. Why? Why? Any good reason? Why not?
Thank you. Okay. Capture dues. They exist. And then I need to create another spur gear. Which I think, what do I want my outer diameter to be? So this one is 50. I guess I have to stay with the same proportions as before. Maybe 60, maybe 80. Might be too big. Yeah, it's too big. Create. So it was 80. That's probably a little bit better. But would it have worked with those 35? Let's try 30. 60. Nope, that's too small. $32. 34. 64. Ah, there she is. Hello? Hey, just so you know, I'm streaming right now, so no talking about crazy butt sex or anything.
Okay, alright. I just wanted to know if you want to go with me today.
Deal, yes. What time?
Okay.
Wait, hello?
Can I? Yeah. You want to go with me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll pick you up at 12:30.
Deal. Sounds good.
Okay.
I'll see you.
Okay. So that's a little over an hour.
Yes, I will see you in an hour.
Okay, bye.
Alright, bye-bye. Cool. Alright guys, I might actually still be able to stick to my schedule here. So the goal as of right now for this stream is to create this capture piece right here. The 3 gears that it's capturing, the gear for the middle and then the planetary gear that goes inside of it, because I think at minimum that's what I'm gonna need to see if it's gonna do. And my guess is that it's totally not. Like, this doesn't have any of the good omens that would warrant me believing that this is actually going to function the way that it ought to. So, but that's okay. I'll probably print it anyway because it's so small that it's not gonna kill me to have a non-working first revision of this. What it will do is kind of tell me what I need to change to make the next version work, because that's how iteration works. You learn stuff. So the only thing I have to do left, or the only thing left that I have to do for this capture piece is to add teeth to the outside of it, which I'm trying to do, but I'm trying to figure out the correct amount. 34 maybe? The 68 pitch diameter. That seems like it'll do. Okay, so that's 68. I should write these numbers down, just in case this does work and it becomes what I go with. So I have a 68, a 50, 2 20s,
and 110. Okay, just so I don't forget. So I'm going to extrude not all of this. Only a portion of it. There we go. Jazz hands. Woo. Okay. And I'll even leave that there because that's going to capture my other pieces. Maybe. That's a big maybe. This might not be what I want. Sarah, but do you even know what you want? No. The answer is big fat no. Uh-oh. What's this? Body. Move. That looks to be the exact same size. It's probably not good. Not good at all. So I should probably shrink that, even if it's just by a small magnitude so that it actually seats in there the way it ought to. We'll leave that. And then all of these gear pieces. All of them. All of you, except for the last one. You can also move up by the same amount, just for the sake of visualization. Boop, boop, boop. 4. Okay. And then you have those kind of captured by those things. Yeah, sort of. Sort of, kind of. Okay, so this is the sort of thing I'm attempting to create. A nipple will not fit inside of this center area right here. Like, no nipple will fit in this, because, I mean, not even mine. Like, no kitten nipple is gonna fit where this gear goes. So I can already tell you that even if, for some crazy bullshit reason, this assembly prints and it fits together and it works and it turns, it's not going to be what I'm looking for, because this needs to frame itself around this biology, and this probably isn't going to suffice. So I'll figure out why my spur gear plugin is acting so weird and shady when I try to produce gears with more than 50 teeth, because all these gears, for whatever reason, and their low gear tooth count work fine. It seems to just be anytime I want to create some fancy math stuff that it kind of loses its mind and goes bonkers on me. And it might just be a CPU thing. It might be because I'm streaming. I have no idea, but I'll figure it out, because that's what I do. So I guess the next step for me is to export all of these things and lay them out on the print bed, which I can go ahead and do now before I go and throw clothes on and get ready to go out. I have to figure out how to fix all this really sexy sex hair that I have going on back here, because I have to go out in public and hopefully not look like crap. Am I mute? Oh, I didn't mute anything. This problem. But anyhow, I have no idea if anyone's still here with me. I probably bored everyone to death trying to get my software to work the way that it was supposed to. Looks correct. Looks correct. Doesn't mean that it is correct. But I'm gonna go with it in any case. Okay, so I'm gonna export this first. Oh wait, I said I was gonna shrink this thing down, didn't I? Oh, Samuel, Mayhew, and Pyro. Hi, thank you. I mean, not that you have to be here, but thank you for being here. I hope you guys are having good mornings too, or afternoons, given that it's likely not the same time wherever you guys are at. Alright, so I said I needed to shrink this down slightly so that it actually fits inside of that other external gear piece. So I'm probably going to offset this, and I can't type in -1 anymore because it doesn't know what that means for some stupid reason. God, why did they change that? 1. So 1 might actually be too much. I'm gonna go with 0.5. Probably more than enough breathing room. And I'm going to extrude this out and get rid of it. So I'm going to subtract that. All right. So this is my first shape that I'm going to print. So I'm going to switch this back to my lovely face just for the time being and export these things real quick. Save it STL. Yeah. And I'll show you setting up the print bed. Because once I get these going, I'm probably going to end the stream and get ready to go out with my mom, like you guys all heard. Because it's Margarita Monday, y'all. That's a thing here in Vegas. At least in this house. Alright, desktop, new folder. I'm going to call this, Nipple Gears V1. Because, of course, what else would I call it? And this is going to be Planetary 1. Planetary, how about Planetary Inner. Not that there's any other planetary gears in this design, but whatever. So that's saved. Second body is the capture piece. Let me do a quick combine on these. Sorry, this is probably boring, just looking at me. So I need to combine. You and you. You won't let me save this. Oh, of course not. So I need body 1. I dropped the body in the spur gear. Oh, that worked. So save as STL. Sure, okay. Whatever. We'll go with that. So this is the capture
piece. Save. Done. Should work. Actually, I'm gonna extrude this 1 millimeter further. And that should combine these. No, it didn't. Whatever, doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna resave that as the capture piece, STL, replace. And I'm gonna continue down the line, and I think I just have to save out one of these 10-toothed gears, because they're all the same. So, actually, what size is that hole? Is it 4 or 3? Okay, it's 3. So I'm saving one of these. This can be gear 10, because it has 10 teeth? Sure. Your gear 10, and then I have my gear 5. Yep. Gear 5. And that's it. That is all she wrote. And I need my Prusa slicer. Don't know what standoffs I was printing earlier, but those are gonna go away, and I'm going to, oh man, that was nipple gear something. Where the hell did I put it? Not dipple. Nipple. One. And that, I can tell you, needs to be rotated around, sure, though, this axis 180 degrees. Better. And then 1, 2, 3, and the planetary. And that, my friends, is all that I need. So I'm going to stick these things places on the print bed. Slicer is weird, I'm still not used to it. I'll probably stick you there. That'll do. So these are all flat on the print bed. They look kind of happy. They're happy for now. And these are going to be printed in silver, so I gotta go grab my SD card. Boop, boop, boop. And then I can save it and start the print. Which it shouldn't take terribly long. Like, I'm sure it'll be done printing by the time my mammy gets here to pick me up. Take me out on the town for the day. Where is it? I have too many cords on my desk. So, but you at least know what my intentions are. So the other thing that I have going on for me, actually I need to show that. I have like a dome housing for the version that's just going to have the propeller and the bearing in it. So it just captures the bearing that the propeller is going to spin within. And
it gives enough room that something can happen inside, like underneath the housing, that will actually stimulate the nipple when the propeller spins. So I started designing that in CAD yesterday as well, but that's not done yet, and I don't have any propellers or bearings yet, so there's not a whole lot I can do with it yet, other than just print it and have it. This is far more interesting, because this involves moving parts that need to fit together in a very specific way, otherwise failure. So, I'm gonna grab the SD card, and then I will be right back, and I can save this. And then I'm gonna sign off. And have more coffee. I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm going to export the G-code. You guys even see? Yeah, you can. Okay. It's going to the Prusa, and I'm going to call this the nipple assembly V1. And it's saving, so it'll tell me here in a second how long it's going to take, roughly. Oh wow. Okay. So it says it's going to take 2 hours and 12 minutes and 15 seconds. Wow, that's precise. So I guess in 2 hours, which I'll probably be out for the time being by then. But in 2 hours, this will be done. And when I get home later on this evening, I'll be able to put it together real quick and see if it works. In any case, here, since I'm going to be signing off soon. In any case, when I do get a working version of this doing, I will probably post a picture or a GIF of it on Twitter, which if you don't follow me on Twitter, I'm at Spetku, that's S-P-E-T-K-U. I'm pretty sure it's in the description of the video, at least it should be. And if you want to hang out with all the cool kids in my Discord, let me throw you the link. Because, I don't know, we all hang out and talk when I'm not doing the streaming, and everyone kind of chats about what they're making and everything, which is pretty cool. Oh god. That's not what I want. Too many windows are open. Here. Oh shit, hi Maker Block! Oh man, more talking's happened and I missed it. Okay, here too. T. Sweet. But anyhow, where am I? Meh. Okay, so yes, on Twitter, at the point in time when I get either the passive nipple, like, propeller pasty completed, or the one with the gears working with that fancy, like, spinning planetary frilly gear box system. When I get either of them doing what they're supposed to, then yeah, I'll show you. I need to 3D print some like stand-in propellers tomorrow, because when my bearings come in, I'm gonna want to connect something to them. and I haven't gone out and bought like drone propellers or found any of the right size on Amazon that I can order that will be here in a quick enough time, because all the ones I want would come from China, I guess, and I can't do the whole super zippy fast like Amazon Prime shipping for them, so I'll have to go hunt them down in Vegas somewhere at a hobby store, but they seem common enough I'll likely find them. Until then, yeah, I don't know, thank you for keeping me company while I kind of trudged through this morning. Sorry, there's a little bit of frustration with the gear generator not wanting to do the generating. That was kind of lame. I apologize for that, like I had any control over it, but I don't know, I'll see you the next time I do a impromptu stream on any of these projects that I'm working on. So as always, thank you for keeping me company and keep making awesome stuff out there, and totally join in on the Discord and talk with me and everybody else if you just want to hang out. So yeah, see you guys.